evening. Welcome to our book club, our Friends in Fiction official book club this evening. I'm Brenda Gardner in South Carolina, and I'm here with my lovely co-host Lisa in Atlanta.
Hi.
And more importantly, with our special guest, Kristy Woodson Harvey, to celebrate and talk about Under the Southern Sky.
Not more importantly at all. Nothing is more important than peanut butter and jelly, which if you are new to the group and you do not know, somehow our lovely ladies have gotten the nickname PB&J.
And actually,
Patty
somehow it was Patty Callahan, Henry.
I love it.
So she gets the credit for that.
There's nothing better.
That's right.
Than PB&J. So.
That's right. So tonight, PB&J are talking with, as we said, Kristy Woodson Harvey, and I'd like to do a quick introduction if I could, Kristy, because we are so excited to have you tonight.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Thank you. And my introduction now has to be altered because before it said USA Today bestselling author, and now it is New York Times bestselling author Kristy Woodson Harvey. Whoop, whoop.
Yay! Champagne!
Yes. So our New York Times bestselling author and USA Today bestselling author of Now Under the Southern Sky, Feels Like Falling, Southern Side of Paradise, The Secret to Southern Charm, and Slightly South of Simple. That's kind of hard to say.
Mm-hmm.
And Dear Carolina, all of those wonderful books. She's also the winner of the Lucy Bramlett Patterson Award for Excellence in Creative Writing and a finalist for the Southern Book Prize. Her work has been optioned for film, and her books have received numerous accolades. But of course, even with all those accolades, what she is most to us is one of our Fab Five friends in fiction authors and podcasters. So welcome to the discussion tonight, Kristy.
Well, thank y'all. Thanks for having me. Isn't that funny? I mean, can you believe? I mean, this just sort of sprung up out of nothing.
I know.
A year ago. Oh, more than a year ago.
I know. And y'all are getting close to a landmark amount of membership. You're getting close to bumping on 40,000.
Yeah. Y'all just hit 6, right? But you've like zoomed past it. I mean, you're like, I was looking today and I was like, whoa, it just shot right up. I mean, I feel like we were like planning your 5,000 giveaway. And then it was like, oh, well, that's obsolete.
It's amazing. Pretty quick.
I'll put something together. I think about y'all. We talk about you guys a lot because, I mean, this was probably a little more than what you bargained for.
I talked about this the other day. It all started when I said an innocuous post on the page, wouldn't it be great to have a book club?
So let that be a lesson to everyone out there. If you suggest that you would like something, we will ask you to start it.
Well, Brenda worked with Kristen, at first to get it started. And then,
I know.
It was, we have a lot. We have our story. We'll tell our story another day.
Yes.
No, I want to hear it. I want to hear it. I don't know this.
Oh.
I really don't think
about you. This is about you.
Well, I mean, it's not the Friends of Fiction book club. That's what it's really about.
Well, I tell you what I would like to mention is how cool it was to get to meet each other in person in Atlanta. Well, in McDonough, I'll say that.
That was one of my favorite book tour moments. Like, I mean, meeting you guys, but also like you two meeting each other. I actually talked about that in an event. Like that was one of the coolest things because I was like, oh my gosh, I guess you think about things in a very specific way. Like we thought, oh, we're going to start this group and it's going to maybe help some independent bookstores. But then it kind of just drove home like, wait, there are like people who have like become friends because of this. And that's a really, really cool thing.
It is. It's a really special thing. And there's a whole community of people who become very close as a result. Yeah. I mean, I can name dozens. So it's really cool. I mean,
that's awesome.
I don't even want to get started because I won't I'll miss somebody, but it's just
No,
been a
I
very
know. Isn't that the way? It's like I'm getting ready to write the acknowledgments for Christmas in Peachtree Bluff. And it's like, I mean, I know I forget people every time. I mean, you have to. And then like, as soon as the book gets turned in, I'll be like, oh, and it's always someone like really obvious. And I'm like, how did I forget that person? And you just never can remember everyone. But anyway, it's
but
great.
weird.
Isn't that a great problem though?
It's
It
a
is,
good problem to have.
and we're so grateful to everybody and who has become such good friends to us, and
Yes.
it's just been an amazing experience. But this isn't about us. This is about Under the Southern Sky. But it's a different amazing experience. And I would like to kick off the questions if I could, Kristy, because we did just mention that you did happen to get one of these wonderful landmark moments of being New York Times bestseller. So we had an advanced question from Sarah Grady who said, "Congratulations on making the New York Times bestseller list. What is your next decade goal?"
Ooh, what a good question.
How about that for not basking in the moment?
Yeah, I mean, no, and that's so funny. It's because Sarah like has really just hit the nail on the head with that one, because that is me in a nutshell. Like, okay, great. And then you wake up the next day, like, what now? I mean, like I don't mean it like that, but I'm not good at being like, I'm going to relish the moment and celebrate. I think I've done a little bit better job on this than maybe anything else, because it was something that was like a big deal to me. And it was, and I wrote that in the post, in one of the posts. I don't think I'd really said that, but that was like a huge goal for me. And I remember knowing like, okay, this is going to be really hard. But that's what's going to make it really good. And it was both of those things. It was hard and it was good. No, I mean, let's see. So, I mean, I would love to actually see something make it to screen in some, like actually get all the way there in some way, shape, or form. That would be great. I mean, and now I've got to be number one, right? I mean, is that the next thing?
Yep.
Christmas in Peachtree Bluff.
No, I don't know. Probably like top 5, maybe. But but who wants to dream small? Let's go for number 1.
That's right.
You are number
Number 1, baby.
You are
10 years from
totally
now,
number
10 years from now, number 1. I'm saying it here first.
It'll happen.
Right. That's
I
right.
believe it.
Absolutely. I would like to ask you a question about Amelia, but before I do that, I wanted to just tell you what one of the most interesting early moments of your book was for me, if that's okay.
Please.
Now that I've done that, I have to find it. Okay. It's right after Amelia found out the news, after she had just published her big article on the modern marriage. And she says, people always think being loved will change them, but that's not true. It's really, truly loving, with a kind of love you couldn't take away even if you wanted to, that turns you inside out. And I just thought that was so much of, I don't know, a prelude to what Amelia was all about during this book.
Well, thank you for that. Is actually one of my favorite quotes in this whole book. I'm glad someone along the way tried to cut it. I'm remembering now. And I was like,
no,
it's like my favorite line in the whole book. We're not cutting that. What are you talking about? But it does give you pause. You're like, wait, maybe it's not that good. Maybe it's not that interesting. Like, I thought that was good, but maybe it's not.
It certainly grabbed me. That's one of my little little sticky notes.
To hear that. Now, it's funny too how things like that just kind of, because that's the very beginning of the book. So I was really just starting to form like, what is the story about? Who are these people? What's going to happen? And I totally agree with you. I think it's actually one of the quotes. Gosh, I should have talked about that in my talk. This is just really changing everything for me, Brenda. I'm going to talk about that quote from now on. But it really does kind of sum up the entire book. It really does. Because it is about, how we become families and what that looks like and who we choose to love in our life, and how that love, especially, like in the case of Parker, really ends up, dictating our decisions in ways that we can't really imagine. And, but I believe that too. I really do. I think there's, something about being loved is great, but loving people in return, I think, is a thing that really changes us and makes us different. And, whoever that is, whether it's, our parents or our siblings or our children or romantic or, whatever it may be, I think it's, whoever we choose to love in our life that really kind of defines, our path for us in some ways.
Oh, well said. It certainly provided the framework for Amelia to go through the experiences that she went through.
Yeah, absolutely. You're completely right about that. It does. And I think, that's a really important point, because even though, her marriage is falling apart and it is something that she thinks is going to sort of define the next chapter of her life, and it does in a lot of ways, but I think she comes to realize that that relationship was always a cop out for her. It was never, she was living her life with one foot out the door the entire time she was in that relationship. And that wasn't, her most authentic self. So.
Oh, well, thanks for that, Kristy.
Thank you. Thank you for reminding me of that. I'm like, I had all these like little quote cards made. And I'm like, God, that's one of my favorite quotes of the whole book. I should have put that on one of the quote cards. What was I thinking?
Well, tuck it away. Tuck it away. Lisa, did you have a question for Kristy?
I do. I have 3.
Lots of questions.
Ooh, okay.
The first one is from Patty Lynn, and she wants to know, she said she's always interested in the process for the audiobooks, which is how she does all of her books.
Awesome.
So she would like to know how you pick your narrators or actors, as she likes to call them.
Yeah.
Voiceover artists.
They are, really. Yeah. I know somebody else who does some voiceover work.
I do too.
On the screen.
Who has a little bit of experience.
Who is that? Who could
no
that
idea
be?
who that could be.
Which is actually, really, who I'm like, well, actually, Lisa could probably answer this question better than I could. But I'll tell you from my end of things how it works. So the first several audiobooks I did just kind of appeared from the ether. Like I never knew anything about them or heard anything about them or was asked anything about them. But the last, let's see. So this is kind of bizarre, and this is about Peachtree Bluff, but I have to tell you this story because it's like kind of related. But I was listening to Slightly South of Simple on a plane, and I was like going to an event. I was writing The Secret of Southern Charm. I was going to a Slightly South of Simple event. It was like a book festival where I was speaking about the book. And so I was listening to it because I wanted to make sure like everything in the next book, fit and all of that. And so I was at this writers conference and or a book festival in Decatur. And I kept hearing this voice and I was like, I recognize this woman's voice. And I kept looking around the green room and I was like, I don't know this. I don't know. And so finally I went up to her and I said, I am so sorry. I'm Kristy Harvey. You just sound really familiar to me. I feel like maybe we've met somewhere. And she was like, oh my gosh, I'm Ansley. And she had done the voiceover for Ansley in Slightly South of Simple.
Wow.
Yeah. And so we kind of got to be friends and like she's come to events and stuff. And it's really cool because my audiobooks, like I think the last few Simon & Schuster Audio has done all of, but sometimes they'll sell to someone else outside of Simon & Schuster Audio. So I think that first one was like with Brilliance or somebody. And so that was one of my stipulations. Like when we moved, I was like, well, she has to be Ansley because, she continues to be Ansley. But for this book, because there were 4 narrators, it was definitely like a process. So they send me choices basically, and they'll say, this is who we're thinking for this character, this character, this character. And they like give me samples. And so actually for this book, I ended up choosing people that weren't in the categories, if that makes sense. Well, actually, I think Cassandra Campbell was one of my choices for Elizabeth. And so I chose her for Elizabeth. And then, but then the other 2 female voices, I think were actually both people that they had pulled for Greer, but I really liked them for Greer and Amelia. And then I'd never chosen a male voice before. So that was kind of interesting. I will say this, the only thing that is, I think Southern accents are really, really hard. And
they are.
That's tricky because it's not like they're sending me clips of someone doing their Southern accent. Like I'm just getting clips of them reading another book.
You can request that.
Well, that's good to know. I mean, and they've all done it. I mean, they're amazing. And I've loved all, I mean, that's not a complaint. It's just it's something that, every now and then I will hear a book and I'll think, that is a bad Southern accent,
Yeah.
So, and that is very important, but I've been really thrilled with all of my audiobooks, and I think everyone's done a really great job and they've been really terrific. I actually have not listened to this one yet, but I've heard really good things about it. So I'm excited to listen to it. And I will do that. It's kind of a weird, I have to I don't know. It's like, I have to wait a little while before I listen to it, because it's weird to hear your own book. I don't know. But I'm really excited to listen to it because I've heard it's great. And, I'm sure everyone did an amazing job. I've heard little bits and pieces and snippets of it, and it sounded really great to me. So, but it is, those Southern accents can be tricky.
Mm.
Yeah. It seems like that's the one accent that's always overdone,
Oh my gosh.
because a lot of the people that are casting those accents aren't from the South.
Right.
So they only know the Hollywood
Right.
bad Southern. It's not
Hollywood
authentic.
Southern.
Right. Well,
The
it's
bad
a lot, and
Hollywood Southern
yeah.
accent.
And a lot of times on TV shows, too, like you're like, oh my gosh, like,
Yeah.
people barely
Yeah.
really talk like that. Not every single person would have that accent, But anyway,
It's so funny.
it's tricky.
Okay. So I have another question, which I love this question, from Debbie Berry. And she says, although it would end sadly, but she would think that a prequel about Greer would be an interesting read. Have you ever thought about doing a prequel or telling that story?
I haven't. I think it would be hard. Well, let me say this. I think if I did like a prequel or a sequel, there could definitely be more of Greer in it. But I think like with the pieces and parts of her story that I told in this book, I don't know. That's an interesting idea, but I wonder if it would be kind of anticlimactic for the reader, because you already know like kind of a lot about her and
How
what's
it
going
ends.
on with her. And it would be sad. It would be really sad. I don't know.
It was sad enough already.
Yeah, I mean, it was sad. And that's not to say that sad books aren't good. I just,
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I do love that idea. A lot of people have given me really great thoughts about, writing a prequel or writing a sequel or that kind of thing. It's so funny because I loved writing this book so much and I love these characters so much, but I don't have like a really clear path of like, oh, this is what I would write for a sequel. But I think it's just because I have so many other things going on in my head. I mean, Christmas and Peach Trees coming out and The Wedding Veil. I'm working on edits and I have another manuscript I'm kind of like thinking about. So, but I think it would be, so many people have said things to me about it that I'm like, why wouldn't I? I loved this story so much. Why wouldn't I write a sequel to it? So maybe, I don't know, but I would definitely, but if I did, we would definitely have more of Greer, for sure. So, and I think that's an interesting idea. Like I would just be telling different parts of her story. And I've said this some other places, but there were actually a lot of pieces of Greer's journal entries that I ended up cutting because I didn't think they really moved the story forward, but could be really interesting to bring in, to a later story or a former story.
Okay. Ooh.
I was like, did we lose Brenda?
So cool. I know.
I'm sorry, you did briefly.
She's back.
Sorry about that little disruption.
No, it's fine.
I just want to remind everyone, if you have any questions for Kristy, please put them in the chat. And I do have one here from Carolyn Tadlock. She wants to know, was the Summer Splash and Fish event based on a real event? If so, are the stakes really that high?
Yes, it was based. Okay, so that whole thing was based on something that actually happened. So there is a huge fishing tournament here called the Big Rock, and it is high stakes. I mean, big money on the line. It's a really high entrance fee to even be able to fish in it. People come in from all over the world to fish in this tournament. And the prizes are huge. And there was a case a few years ago where there was someone on the boat that was fishing. They won the tournament. And I mean, I think Will, how much money did they win in the Big Rock when the person didn't have the fishing license? Yeah, he said it was like $1 million.
Wow.
And
Wow.
someone on the boat didn't have a fishing license, and they ended up like losing because of it. So,
Oh
I mean,
my
it's,
God.
yes, it's very high stakes, and it really did happen. And, you know, it's things like that like, I mean, I remember hearing that and being like, oh, how awful. But it's not something that I like thought about, or I thought I'm going to put that in a book one day, or that I was writing and I thought, what a good thing. I'll put that thing about the bigger. It's just, that's what's so bizarre about the writing process, is that like, you know, you're writing a story and like that just comes and you're like, oh, cool. Like, glad that was stored away somewhere in there. But yeah,
Wow.
that's, it was based on a real thing. And I just remember thinking how horrible, and like, just how, and you know, this was a little bit different because, you know, he really doesn't know that he has to have a fishing license. So it's not really like necessarily his fault, but like, it's hard to get in the good graces of someone that you maybe want to be your father-in-law once you have lost the,
$1
and
million.
honestly, and the money is like monumental, but I am telling you, if you had asked a lot of those people, they would have said the worst part was like losing the title, you know, like of winning that huge tournament. And because it is, you know, there are a lot of people on the boat, so it's still a lot of money. It's a lot of money
Wow.
no matter what, even once it's divided up, like it's still a ton of money. So but I also think just there's bragging rights of like having won that tournament. So yeah, it was a big deal, and it would have been a very big deal. It would have been a very big deal.
That's mind blowing. I can't believe that. They'll never forget that ever. Like,
No,
that's something that they'll never, ever, ever forgive themselves for.
right. I mean, it's kind of like a life defining moment. Like, how do
Right.
you like ever sort of move forward from that? But I mean, you know, in the scheme of life, like whatever, like worse things
Right.
could happen. But yeah, you would
Right.
never forget that moment. not ever.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. Mm.
Lisa, did you have another question? But I wanted to pose something once you
Sure.
finished. Was that all three?
Yes, but there's more if you want me to
Oh,
pull
good.
more.
Yeah, go ahead. And then
Okay.
I'll ask my question for our readers.
I have a great question from Irene Justice. Oh, hi, Irene. You write scenes that literally make me hold my breath. Do you have any tips or tricks on how you create these scenes?
Oh my gosh, that's so nice. Thank you for saying that. You know, it's another one of those things. I don't know that I like really consciously think about it, but I do think that I always try to like really put myself in whatever position it is. Like I try to really think about like, what if this were me? What would I be feeling? What would I be? And I do think bringing in more of the senses than what you would necessarily think of. Like I do, you know, what does it smell like? What does it taste like? What does it feel like? You know, because I think we tend to use our sight and our hearing a lot, but sometimes adding in those like extra senses can help a little bit, and especially smell, just because it is so related to memory. And I think that even subconsciously, I feel like if we could use smell, it puts people in a moment that they've experienced too sometimes, which is, in fact, I'm actually like, I was just going through this scene that I wrote about the aftermath of this hurricane and Christmas in Peachtree Bluff. And I was like, what would it smell like? Like people need to know what it smells like, because, you know, you can see the destruction and you can, you know, you can hear like the silence or the sirens or whatever it is, but that smell is like something that, you know, you'll never forget. So I think that, but also just really just trying to like put myself in the situation and what would it be like. And it's kind of a weird process because it's like, I feel like I'm detached somehow, but I'm also like so in it. I don't even know how to explain it. It's very bizarre. Because I can write things that are just like in real life would just like rip me apart, but I am not like upset about them. It's very weird. I don't know.
Well, thank goodness that you can, because it comes across so brilliantly through
Well,
your words.
Thank you.
It's a special gift to be able to write scenes like that, you know.
That's so nice. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Well, I have a question to pose to our readers, and we'll ask Kristy too. But there were so many interesting characters in this book and their relationships to each other. I mean, there's of course Parker and Greer and Parker and Amelia and the moms, Elizabeth and Olivia, even Parker's brother Mason, and everything to me just had a purpose in the storyline. So I'm curious who you identify with in the book and what relationships you would like to hear more about.
See, I would like to know that too. So if there is ever a sequel.
Yes, this is your beginning
and
research.
That was truly like Christmas in Peachtree Bluff. I was on Facebook like, so what do you guys want to make sure gets in the book? I mean, it was hilarious. And there were like a couple of things that my editor would be like, I don't know if we really need that. And I would be like, no, like people have asked me about this. We have to have it in there. It is. I mean, I'm like, I feel like you write the first book for yourself. And then after that, it's like, it's all, I said this like the day the book came out. It's like once it comes out, it's all of ours. Like it's not mine anymore. It's ours. Like it's
you
all
released
of ours.
it into the world.
I released it into the world. All of ours. And here we are. So it is kind of a weird feeling. So do you want me to answer that or are we just going to let other people answer that? Or do you want me to wait?
I would like for you to,
yeah, we want to know yours too.
Yeah, we want to know yours, but I'm seeing some interesting things coming up in the chat.
Oh, good. I'm excited. I can't wait to read them. Well, I think this is weird, but I think I relate to little bits and pieces of all of my characters in some ways. Like, I do have a background in journalism. And so I really related to that part of Amelia, but not necessarily like her personality in all of its ways. I think like tradition and family are really important to me. And I think, that kind of comes through in Elizabeth in a lot of ways. I think Parker has a lot of like sentimentality to him, and I have some of that to me. So I definitely pulled that in, and just that sort of feeling of like responsibility for things that maybe aren't necessarily my responsibility, if that makes sense. But I think he kind of, feels responsible for taking care of people in his life. I mean, you can see that like with his father-in-law and, things like that, where it's maybe not necessarily his responsibility, but he takes it anyway. Let's see, who else? I mean, truly, Greer, I think one of the things about Greer's character that I really liked writing and that I thought was interesting about her, and was a point that actually, this was written pre-Friends of Fiction, but I probably could have written about it even more post Friends of Fiction. But I think that we tend to feel like we really know people that we follow online, that we watch, that we see a lot. And honestly, in some ways we do. Like when people come up to me at an event and they're like, I feel like I know you. I'm like, well, you do. You've seen it all. I mean, you heard my like bad singing last week. I mean, like you do. Like
that's something you don't get at a book signing.
Exactly. Like it's real. It's the real deal. But I do think it's not even that tendency to feel that way, but I think we really do. Like we really come to know people through their online lives. And you see a lot of that in Greer's character, and especially Amelia's relationship with Greer, that even though she doesn't know her that well in real life, she feels like she knows her because she follows her and she reads her columns, and she buys her mom the Christmas present that Greer recommended on her, whatever. I mean, so I do think that those things I think those relationships are very real. And it was kind of interesting to be able to like explore that a little bit. And then there are definitely people that I feel like, when I meet them, you guys, I felt like it was so bizarre meeting you, because I was like, it was almost like I was so excited to meet you, but it was almost like, well, yeah, there they are, like we just had been hanging out. So I don't know. It's a very strange kind of thing, but I think it's very real. So that was really fun to get to write about. And I really related to that in a lot of ways. And like I said, relate to it even more now, a year later or 2 years later, however long it's been. That's probably enough. I want to know what other people said.
Well, we are getting a lot of No, you go ahead, Lisa, but I was just going to intro and say we've gotten lots of comments about that. So I'm
Okay.
excited to hear
Okay,
what
good.
people
Good
are pulling.
question.
We have a lot of people, and I can't name everyone, but a lot of Mason. People want more of Mason.
Yeah.
I thought
That's
that was
come
the most
through a
interesting
lot.
too.
Okay, so I'm really glad
Yeah.
to hear that because I would like to write more about him. I think he would be a really interesting character, and especially like to be able to get more of his backstory from his point of view, because we don't get any of that, but then also to see where he goes in his life and like how he moves forward. And I think he's like right on the verge of like being redeemed, you know? So
Yeah. I also want to give the spoiler warning now that it's right at a little bit after 7:30.
yeah.
So if you haven't read the book, we're just going to give you the warning that the questions from this point further will have spoilers. But I do have some more comments. Doris says she loves the dynamics of Elizabeth and Olivia's lifelong friendship.
Thanks.
Maria said she loves Aunt Tilly. I love Aunt Tilly too.
Oh yes, I really wanted to wear an Aunt Tilly hat tonight, but I couldn't find anything appropriate.
I should have. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Leslie wants to know more about Aunt Tilly as well.
I did notice
quite a few Amelias.
Yes, and I did notice Debbie Stone said, and this is kind of funny, having married the son of my parents' best friends, I totally identify with Parker and Amelia.
Oh, I love that.
They were very scheming, I will say that.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
That is awesome.
I love that. That's really cool.
That is so funny.
Yeah.
A lot of fans of Aunt Tilly and Elizabeth's relationship.
Good to know.
Karen wants to see if Greer and Parker live happily ever after in the sequel. More Tilly. Tilly and Mason are two hot
front runners
here.
I love that. All right.
Yeah.
Give Mason a bump.
Oh, Michelle Marcus says, Kristy, Christmas novel with Mason.
Christmas in Cape Carolina. That sounds like something I'm doing already. No, I'm telling you why though. Writing a Christmas book is super fun. I could definitely do that again.
That's funny.
Keeps you in the holiday spirit.
Yeah, it does. It totally does. All right, I love these. This is great. Good question.
Oh, Marilyn says if Mason is going to be a high school coach, he'll have to be on the moral high road.
That's right. He will. He's going to have a real,
So he's going to have to walk the straight and narrow.
Oh, he could like fall in love with like a kindergarten teacher. Wouldn't that be cute?
That would be cute.
You would have to spend a lifetime though writing all the books that we're asking for and wanting based on these.
No, actually, this is really great. I mean, there were 4 POVs or 5 POVs in the next one. I mean, I don't see any problem with this. Just keep it. We could just switch somebody out. Like maybe instead of Elizabeth, we have Tilly, and instead of Greer, we have Mason, and then we keep Amelia. Maybe we don't even have Parker. Maybe instead of Parker, we have Mason, and we get to kind of see his point of view. I love this, you guys. Thanks. You really just written the book for me. This is fantastic.
Well, I have a quick question too. I'm sure Lisa's going to pull some more chat stuff, but one of the questions asked in advance was from JJ Novak, who asked that you've mentioned that Amelia was not the original name of the character.
Yes. But
instead was Keaton. And she says, I love the nicknames that some of the characters had for Amelia. Were there nicknames for Keaton as well?
Oh, yes. But what was her nickname when she was
I love
Keaton?
Leah Bell, by the way.
But that was not it. Yeah.
No, but that was for Amelia.
No, I know. Yeah. I cannot remember. Isn't that crazy? But
well, that's tune in later.
Yeah, I really don't remember. Yeah, but I did like that. But no, I had to change. I mean, there was a lot that got changed. But it's so funny. Now that I've talked about the book so much, Amelia does pop into my mind first. But for a long time, like it was Keaton. I mean, that was her name. So it was hard for me to like switch that one, which I change character names all the time. Like Harris's name was not Harris when I wrote this book. And And like in my next book, I mean, I change character names all the time. So that's the only time that's really happened to me where I still, like, after the book came out, was like, oh, I still kind of feel like her name is Keaton. But I don't know. But yeah, I did like that. And my family calls me Christabel. So that's where it came from.
Oh, that's so cute.
Again, you heard it here.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
You heard it here first.
Especially my Aunt Kathy.
Oh,
She always calls me Christabel.
oh, that's so cute. So we had a lot of, oh, I'm sorry, Lisa, go ahead. Did you have another question from the chat?
No, you go ahead, because I think I know what question that you're going to ask, and I'm dying to know the answer myself.
Oh, then you better ask it, because I'm not sure mine is all that exciting.
Okay. This was a question from Karen Delari. I'm sorry if I killed your last name. But she wants to know the babies' names and why we didn't find out what their names were.
Thank you, Karen. Yep. So the babies' names were George and Greer. And the first time I got that question, I thought, I mean, that person clearly wasn't reading the end very well. And then the second time I got it, I thought, oh my God, like, what? How are these people not getting this? And then I went to go read the end of the book and was like, it's not there. And that was sort of what I was alluding to in one of my videos that I did. But yeah, so the babies' names are George and Greer. And what I finally figured out, because I was like, how did these get cut? Like, how are the babies' names not in the end of the book? And what I figured out, the very last like edit that I made was I had written the modern love column that appears at the end, and I just wasn't right. And I love writing columns. So I was like, this should not be hard. Like, I don't know why I can't get this right, but I just knew it wasn't right. So I turned the whole book in and actually like emailed my editor and said, the modern love column at the end is not right. I'm going to go work on it and I will send it to you and you can just stick it in the book. So evidently when I wrote the first and I guess I just hadn't thought there was anything, like, to me, the column was like a recap of what we already knew, you know, or it was just sort of like the wrap up. There was no real information in there. It was just, you know, something sweet to kind of tie the story together. But evidently the names of the babies were in the original column and did not make it into the other column. So now I'm going to have to write a sequel just so we know the names of the babies. Like, maybe that was like the door I left open subconsciously so that I could write another book about
That is it. You
That's
think
it.
so? That
Maybe
was
that's
your
it.
subconscious talking.
Yeah. Yes, but their names are Greer and George, after Greer, obviously the mama, and George, her dad. So it was very clear to me from the very beginning that they would be boy-girl twins. This would be their names.
G and
So
G.
cute.
But we can just
G&G.
erase that part and of this chat, and I'll just say you'll have to read the sequel to find out what the twins were and what their names were. That was part of one of the pieces of information that I was
We'll do a little take two.
Hi, Karen. Thank you, Karen.
Oh yes, much popularity for a sequel about George and Greer in the chat.
Yes.
Well, a lot of people in the advanced questions, Kristy, a lot of people were really interested in your process and your writing. And Lori Alcon Brown asked, did the book go in the direction you originally intended it to? And you know, how much rewrite did you do before you sent it for its first edit?
Oh, that's a good question. No, it always makes me laugh, like when people say like, I loved it, but it was so predictable. And I'm like, was it? Because it went a lot of ways that I didn't think it was going to.
Wasn't predictable for me, right?
Wasn't predictable for me. No, I mean, if you read, look,
Yeah,
it's like,
we're
I
at
don't know.
spoiler time, so
Yeah, like, you know what's going to happen. I mean, like, you know, they're going to end up together in the end. Like, if they don't, can you imagine? Like, what a horrible story that would be. Like, here's 400 pages and they don't end up together in the end. You're welcome for that. So, I mean, yeah, like, that's the kind of book I write. You know, it's not like going to be a twisty, like, murder at the end to like throw you off. That's just not what I write. And it's not what I like to read. It's not what I want to write. But no, I mean, can we like really spoiler, like, big time? Okay.
Yeah, it's
Well,
after 7:30.
Yeah.
This
So
is our book
if
club
we're big time
discussion.
spoilering, so when I originally pitched this series, oh, that was like another
See, we bring it
Y'all are
out of her,
bringing it
guys.
out. When I originally pitched this standalone novel,
Uh-huh.
Not anymore.
yeah, well, you heard it here first. No, but when I'm drinking kombucha, I haven't even had wine, and that just like piled out. So no, but when I originally pitched this story, I thought I don't outline or anything like that. So I just kind of like vaguely pitched it, and I was like, I want her to decide to become the surrogate, and then like they'll fall in love. It was kind of my thought. Well, then I started writing it, and I could tell right away. Like when she's going through that first round of IVF and when they're like in that little house together. And I was like, if she gets pregnant and they fall in love, this book is going to be icky. Like there was something about it, like about like her being pregnant with like his baby with his dead wife and then falling in love. I was like, this is not going to work. Like, this is just not going to work. And I actually called, my editor and said, hey, I just wanted to give you a heads up. This is not going to work. And she was like, no, it's going to be so sweet. And I was like, it's not. Like, it's really not. I'm just telling you, it's really not. Like, I could just feel it in my bones. It's not going to be good. So, and I was like, it's fine. Like, I figured it out. This is what I'm going to do instead. And I think that was the way the story should have gone, because I think you got a lot more out of this story of them kind of almost, I think especially for Amelia, she couldn't have just fallen in love with him like that. Like, that wasn't going to work. There was too much of a past. She had too many scars. There wasn't enough time for her to have overcome what she'd just been through. She had to get past the idea that, she was going to be living in the shadow of this perfect woman who, there was a lot that she had to overcome, and Parker too, because he is still carrying so many scars. But I think 3 years later, like, even though he didn't necessarily realize it yet, like, I think he was probably at a point where if he had let himself, like, he really would have been more ready than she would have. And you see that in the story too. I mean, you see that he's at a place that she just isn't. And there are a lot of reasons for that. So that was like the major thing that I was like, okay, this is not going to work, like plan B. But process wise, I just dive in. Like, I don't know I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I knew some things, but it's so funny how things just pop up because, the way I pitched this story, I had no idea about dogwood. Like, I didn't know that this big rambling family home was going to come into play in this house at all. And I do think it kind of becomes like a metaphor for so many things in the book. I had no idea Aunt Tilly was going to be in the story. And the minute she appeared, I was like, ooh. And there was something about like the combination of her and the house that I was like, ooh, I love this. Because it gave it just this little, I mean, it's still like women's fiction and it's fun and all those things, but it gave it this like tiny bit of like Southern Gothicness to it that I was like, ooh, I really like that. There's like this little bit of like darkness that you kind of feel, kind of lurking around the corners. And I don't know, there's more to the story than what you're really seeing. So that was like a total surprise to me. Mason, I mean, had no idea about any of that. I also did not know until I was actually finished with the story. I finished the book. And then I was like going back through it and I thought, I really want Greer and Amelia to have like something between them that no one knows about, something that like happened to them in life that's almost like the Madonna Britney kiss. Like, like Greer's like Greer is somehow
like it, but not like it.
But the minute I said that, you knew what I meant.
Yeah, I totally did.
It's like that passing of the torch in a way of like, that somehow the reader can leave this story knowing that Greer would have been happy with how this story turned out, even though she never knew about it. But it's like, she doesn't know, but she knows.
But she knows.
Yeah. And so that's
totally.
what, and I really struggled with that because I thought I need a secret. And I think I mentioned this, but I was actually at a writer's weekend in California, or we were doing a bunch of like events, like a little mini tour book events. And Kristen was there and Mary Alice was there and Christina McMorris. And actually there were a lot of other authors there, but I think it was just the four of us that were staying together, and we were talking about this book. And I said, hey, this is the story. This is what it's about. I want these two women to have a secret. And they all came up with really, really great ideas. And none of them were ultimately what I ended up using, but they really got me thinking along those lines of like, what could this be? And, what could these two women have between them that in some way, shape, or form would translate to, Greer feeling like, if she had still been alive, that this is a person that she would really trust with something that was really important to her. And so I think getting to see in her life that she trusts her with something that's really important with her made it, it felt more complete to me after that. So I don't even think I answered the question.
You did.
Oh, yes, you did. And it was so interesting. And I'm so glad you mentioned that about dogwood and about, I'm kind of backtracking a little bit, but
Yeah.
about dogwood and the little gothicness, because it was so interesting to me the way Amelia had that dream where she became Aunt
Oh,
Tilly.
yeah.
And it was just just was like, whoa.
No, I remember that.
Yeah.
And I remember writing, some people dream about losing their teeth. I dream about losing dogwood. And I was like, here's my book. Like, 'cause you just don't know. Like, you don't really know like what's going to happen or who these people are going to be, or if you have a story. And I specifically remember that line and being like, there's something to that. And thinking Aunt Tilly is going to be really important in this story. I don't know who she is, but she's going to be really important in this story.
I love that.
Oh, I do too. She was. And I'm backtracking a little bit too, but I just wanted to give you, for your future notes, Kristy,
Oh,
about
good.
the
Thank you.
sequel.
Thank you. I'm like, where's my notebook, you guys? Can we?
You can look at all these comments later. I just thought this was funny. Carrie Soderman says, Mason can coach George on the baseball team. I think Greer will be in theater.
Oh, it's so good.
Yes, but the details are in the everything in between, right?
Little League and like, oh, Carrie.
That would be so.
Oh my goodness. I can't even believe us sometimes.
Annie Jerkin says she thinks she's going to reread the book now with all the insights she's learned today.
Good. Thanks, Annie. I appreciate that. I feel like I need to reread it too. So it's time for me to listen to it, I think.
I know, I wonder about that, especially when you're talking about a book that you might have written like 5 years ago, and people are saying, oh, I love the way the, clock turned to the number whatever on this page, and you're like, really?
No,
What?
this is not a joke, y'all. So the other night was one of my, like, I had a 5, a 6, a 7, and an 8. And the 7 was about Feels Like Falling. And it was a book club, and they just wanted me to like talk. And I literally got on and I was like, I mean, I don't think they knew it. Like I pulled it together and like was fine. But I was like, I haven't talked about this book in a year. What was this book about? Like, because all I had done, for the last I just got off of tour. I was still in this, doing all these events every day. And I was talking about this book all the time. And it took me a minute. I was like, what are these characters' names? Like, what was this book about?
You're like,
of course, I know it's Gray and Diana. Like, I'm not, I was like, could tell you, a lot about Dear Carolina still, but it is funny because sometimes I'll be talking about like a very minor character, and all of a sudden I'll be like, what was their name again? It's just because you forget. I mean, you really do. It's so funny. But yeah, that's a good
imagine you do. I mean, it's and then even now when you're talking about Under the Southern Sky, you're already writing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm like 3 past it.
Yeah.
So I mean it does start to kind of, but anyway, but yeah, I definitely need to go back and listen to it. But I mean, I remember this one pretty well. So.
Oh yeah, I'm impressed with all the authors who are able to do that well. I have to ask one question because I confess I don't remember this from the book so much, and apparently it was the thing. Kate Simmons Westbury, she's already laughing. asked, the asparagus pea part was randomly hilarious. What on earth made you think to include it?
We cannot talk about this because my mom is listening and she's so mad about this part. I'm just kidding.
No.
I'm just kidding. There's someone who posted about it on Facebook and she was like, oh, that was so gross. Why would you have put that in there? And I just thought it was so funny. Okay, so we are
funny.
eating dinner one night. We're having asparagus. And my son says something about what happens after you eat asparagus and the smell when you use the restroom. And I said, oh, that doesn't happen to me. And my husband said, yes, it does. You just can't smell it. And I was like, what? And he was like, everyone's pee smells after they eat asparagus. It's just some people have the gene where they can smell it and some people don't. And I was like, that is not true. And he was like, why would I make that up? Like, that would be such a weird thing to make up. And so it's just another one of those like really random things. And I was writing the scene. Well, and I was writing this scene where, you know, she's a little intoxicated and she's in this really awkward situation. And I'm like, what's better than a drunk girl in an awkward situation, making it more awkward, you know? But then I thought, what a testament of true love. Like if someone will smell your asparagus pea for you, they love you like that. They love you. That is not a question.
That is true.
So I felt like it's that moment where she just is so horrifyingly cringeworthy. Because I do like that. I mean, I think we've all, even if we haven't done something like that, we've been in a moment where you want to look at your friend and be like, oh my God, please stop, please stop, please stop, please stop, please stop. Like, don't do it. Don't do it. And so I wanted to have kind of that cringeworthy moment for her, but also in a really stupid and ridiculous and roundabout way when simultaneously when she's like, so who wants to smell my pee? And Harris is like, oh my God. And Parker's like, I'll do it. I mean, you know, like who loves you? It's probably Parker. I mean,
so I'm looking for a guy like Parker and I need to find a guy who is willing to smell my asparagus pea. Got it.
So there you go.
Single ladies,
take note. But I also thought that was a really fascinating fact. I'm getting a text.
Okay, that's going to narrow your pool.
It's from my mom. It's probably from my mom.
She's like, stop talking about the asparagus.
Talk about this. It's so good. No, Mom, she texted me, enough with the asparagus.
Oh, and here we
sorry,
highlighted
Moving
again.
on.
Sorry, Kristy's mom.
Moving on.
Moving on.
Do not discuss such things.
Well, I can't move on. I have to say one more thing because Rhonda Perrette actually says 23andMe actually gives that info on their genetic report, and I have no idea what that means.
See, Mom? It's a thing.
23andMe is like an ancestry type
I
thing.
know, but I guess it's a genetic marker or something.
Yeah, it's a genetic marker. Mm-hmm.
Well, there you go. Another thing.
Wow.
You learn
Hashtag things you learn in medical school that are very useful.
That's so funny.
You learn something new every day.
I know. I cannot believe it. And I also cannot believe that it's like our hour is almost up already.
Oh my goodness, it is.
I just can't believe it. But I would love for Kristy to make some, some final remarks about the book, but I'll make a few announcements first and then we'll turn things over to Kristy because we have so much coming up in Friends and Fiction and the book club. Yes. And I hope I don't leave anything out. But y'all are hosting Pam Jenoff this Wednesday, author of The Woman with the Blue Star. Is that right?
That's amazing. Yeah, that is right. And Pam is amazing, is what I was trying to say. Pam is amazing. That is correct. Yeah.
And your indie bookstore for this week, where you can get 10% off, is Inkwood Books in New Jersey with the code FRIENDSFIC. On Pam Jenoff books and on other new and recent titles from the Fab Five. Our next book discussion will be The Newcomer with Mary Kay Andrews, Whoop Whoop, on June 21st.
So good. It's so good.
The Summer of Lost and Found with Mary Alice Monroe on July 19th. But Kristy will be back. It's going to be a while, but Kristy will be back to give us the lowdown on Christmas in Peachtree Bluff before the end of the year.
Hopefully we'll snag her. We'll
Well,
snag her before then.
I don't know. I think y'all are first on the list. Anytime, any day, any whatever. PB&J, number one. But also, I do have to say, we're doing the cover reveal for Christmas at Peachtree Bluff on Wednesday night as well.
Yeah.
Oh, that's this Wednesday.
Yes, that's this
Yay.
Wednesday. And I got the most ridiculous free gift for everyone. If you order from our bookstore this week, I have to tell you, you know, those head scratchers, I have one and I wish that I had brought, do you know what I'm talking about? That are like the things that like go over your whole head and they have like all the little prongs and they feel
it's like a weird wiry thing.
Yes, the weird wiry thing. So I will have one on Wednesday to show everyone. But that is the free gift with purchase for Inkwood Books. It says Friends in Fiction on the handle. But I was like looking at all the like merchy stuff and I was like, wouldn't it be so great to like be reading your book and like be doing your head scratcher? And everyone was like, so random. I'm like, I know, but I mean, this is what we're going to do. It's going to be great. So that's going to be our free gift with purchase if you order from our bookstore of the week. And I'm also, y'all come look at my website. It's KristyWoodsonHarvey.com, but we're going to have a lot of fun stuff going on Thursday, like to celebrate the cover reveal. There's going to be a big giveaway for like tons of copies of the other books in the series. And I'm doing these really cute, I read Kristy Woodson Harvey Christmas ornaments that are going to be like our little pre-order freebie for everybody this go round. And it's going to be fun. I'm excited.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
Sounds like
and, you know,
fun.
I got to tell you, people love the merch.
I mean, there could be some merch announcements coming on
Wednesday.
Okay.
So,
we
you
will.
heard it from the merch committee first.
All right, that is good to know. And Lisa, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, if anybody needs a book plate for Under the Southern Sky, let me know, and I will get you one. Oh, and also for any of my books, but if anyone needs one, let me know. Okay.
Oh, that's such a nice offer because I know lots of people get their books and they don't have an opportunity to get a signed one.
Especially now. I mean, especially with these little bitty baby tours we're doing.
Yeah, and so many people in the midsection of the country and out west, they're not having those same opportunities. So thank you. That is awesome. Yeah. We'll get that information out on the site too, and you'll be swamped.
Yeah.
Lisa,
we'll have everybody send you a self-addressed stamped envelope with what they want on it.
They don't have to do that. They don't have to do that. We can handle it.
And the address too.
So Lisa, did you want to share with our readers what our new news is?
I do. We're making an announcement tonight. During our happy hour with Ron Block and Mary Kate Andrews, and we had our special guest, Rachel Griffin, we announced the schedule for the rest of the year. And if you noticed, our December 6th episode was titled Special Holiday Episode, but now that the cat is out of the bag, we can happily announce that our December 6th episode will be with Mary Kate Andrews for the Santa suit.
Yay!
Yay! So 2 wonderful Christmas books to discuss in December.
And a happy hour with Ron Block. So December is just
so fun.
Be holiday happiness with us.
I can't tell you like how many times I accidentally said something about her book.
Well,
I mean,
we were
writing it forever. You know, I mean, not forever, but like, we've been talking about the Santa suit forever. And there were like so many times that I was always like, and then I was like, oh God, no one knows she's writing that. Don't say that. You know?
Well, we did. I was at her event with Emily Giffen at her house.
Yes.
And during the chat, we were, there was a couple of us watching from the living room while they were filming. Yeah. And we were watching the chat and someone mentioned, oh yeah, she's got a Christmas book coming out. I have it on hold at the library. And we all went, oh my gosh, no. And we're like texting Meg and we're like, should she announce it? We're like, they were just like, oh my gosh, behind the scenes. I was like, what are they going to do?
Well, yeah, because it was up like on all the online retailers and stuff. So, I mean, it was, But anyway,
They were like, no, that person is not telling the truth. They're like, libraries don't even know this yet. I'm like, we were like, ah.
Well, I'm glad the cat's out of the bag.
Exciting that
I'm
it's
glad the
out.
cat's out of the bag.
Yeah. And we didn't spill the beans.
And we said nothing. I just, for the record.
I didn't say anything either. I just almost did. That's different.
That's very different.
Yeah.
Oh, Kristy, it has been such a pleasure to talk with you tonight about Under the Southern Sky. And we've gotten so many wonderful comments in the chat about the storyline and just about how much they love your characters and your writing.
Oh, thank you.
And we
Thank
so
you,
appreciate
guys.
your spending the evening with us.
Oh, I so appreciate it. And I will put a little post in about if you guys want book plates, how to do that. In fact, I might just make a little spreadsheet or something to like keep it simple. But anyway, y'all are amazing. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for having me. Thank you for putting together this amazing group of people. And I'm just super grateful for everything you do. And thanks for reading Under the Southern Sky. I'm glad I got to talk about spoilers. That was really fun. I haven't done that yet. So
yes.
Yay. Thank
That's
you
the good thing about the book club sessions. You can talk spoilers. So
that's exactly right.
Well, thanks so much, Kristy.
All
Hope
right.
you continue to have a wonderful book tour.
Thank you. Good night, ladies. Thank y'all.
Night.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, that was so much fun.
Isn't she just so, I can't believe how quickly the hour went by. There's still so many questions and we could talk to her forever, I feel.
I know, and I feel like there's so many things we didn't get to say in the chat too. But really enjoyed the comments everybody had about the characters and how they identified with them, because this was such a rich book in that way.
Yeah.
I felt like, and there was so much more that you could explore. So it's just cool to be able to talk with her about those characters and see what other readers are thinking. That's just one of the best things about this group.
Yeah, for sure. And just one thing I want to know, who do you relate to the most, Brenda, of the characters from the book?
Oh, that is a tough one. I guess I'm going to say, oh,
I put you on the spot.
yeah, I'm going to say Amelia, but in truth, well, no, I'll just say that in truth, I think Amelia's mom is a really interesting character, and her friendship with Olivia is super interesting. So I'm gonna pick her. So what about you?
I love their relationship. I would say Amelia is who I relate to the most. But my favorite character was Aunt Tilly for sure. I just loved her. I would love more of her origin story, just in a sequel, or a prequel. Any cool?
Yes. Yeah, someone actually several someone's I think suggested that in the chat. And I was really curious about Aunt Tilly too. And then to learn that Aunt Tilly wasn't sort of in the beginning thinking about the book. She was so pivotal in several spots of the book. So that's just really interesting, the way authors come up with their creative process differently. So
yeah.
But Parker's a really interesting character too, and I guess he's male, and I don't identify with that quite so much, but he's definitely he has good character, let's say.
Yeah.
So I admire Parker.
Marjorie in the chat says Parker tries to please everyone like me. I can relate, Marjorie. I don't try to please everyone, but I don't know. I think what it is saying no. It's hard for me to say no. I want to help everyone. So I guess it's kind of the same as pleasing people. I mean, I can say no. I'm not a pushover by any means, but I want to help people. So even if I know I might be overextending myself or overcommitting to things, I'll still say, oh, I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. And it's that, I think it's that saying no, trying to please people. And I could relate to that. Like Marjorie said, I can relate to that part of Parker too, wanting to please people.
Yeah, I think there's something in each of those characters that we can relate to. I mean, even like Mason, when you think about him and the distance he comes um in the book. So I don't know, I could spend another hour talking about about
Welcome
just
to
that
the
part.
after show.
Well, not tonight.
Right.
Not tonight, but
Well,
but
do we want to
sometime.
share one of our other things that we were going to say about the next chat? We don't have a date yet, but
Okay, I'm losing the
for those
sound a
of
little
you
bit.
that are sticking on, our next informal chat that we have, but we haven't set the date for, we will actually, it'll be for people who've read the book and want to have a discussion with each other for Under the Southern Sky.
Yes, I'm glad you thought to mention that tonight, because we can only get in so much depth on the With the Author show. So we would like to have more time to get into depth with some of the events in the book. So yeah, we're cool with that, and we need to set a date, I think.
We'll come back to that and we'll share.
Yes.
But the next, moving forward, our goal is to, after we do the author chat, the next informal chat will be a discussion of the book. So the entire chat would be spoilers. So if you haven't read the book, you don't want to go to that informal chat. And then we'll still have some informal chats that, like we've done in the past, where we talk about
Yeah,
what we've
that are
read, or
open.
just
Mhm.
hanging out,
Yeah,
literary
because those are
crushes
so
like we do.
the literary what?
Crushes like we
Oh,
have.
but those are so wonderful too. So we'll mix it up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we wanted to share that because we know that you guys want to be able to discuss it more with each other too.
Yeah, and hopefully there was some more of that in the chat too.
Mhm.
Well, thanks everyone for watching tonight. Under the Southern Sky was such a fantastic book, and it's nice to be able to share it with a
Loved
whole
it.
community of people who've read it. So that being said, hope everyone has a great
Yeah.
week and happy reading on your next novel.
The newcomer, our next book
Yay!
club discussion. Yay.
That's right.
Thanks
Take care.
everyone for joining us.
Take care, everybody. Good
Good
night.
night.